Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to present a video on how to spot or what kind of personalities to look out for. What kind of personalities might actually constitute certain toxic traits that can prove very dangerous or harmful to you in the long run. First disclaimer that this video will give you certain indications, but the true result can only be found out after studying the entire chart, because some of these factors can be accelerated or negated or reduced in intensity by other opposing factors. So let's begin. First of all, I want to distinguish here between the D1 and the D9 chart. The D1 is the main birth chart, and D9 is the birth chart or a segment of the main birth chart which shows the dignity of the planets, the strongest internal highest possible plane at which the planet might operate is what the D9 birth chart shows. So for instance, if let's say planet Sun here is in the fourth house in the sign of Libra, Sun is debilitated and has the lowest possible digbal or directional strength. But let's say in D9, Sun is in the sign of Aries. This means that Sun's internal potential is super high. So even if Sun is weak in D1, over time the person will be able to, has the potential to at the very least realize the highest power of Sun, because Sun here sits in exaltation in the sign of Aries. So imagine this to be the D9 chart, the bucket, the reservoir through which a part of that, a drop of it is actually available in the D1 chart. This example helps me sort of explain how these toxic personalities might function. Let's just imagine an example where Sun again here is in the D1 chart, he's in the sign of Aries in the 10th house, exalted. This is the prime position for Sun. Looking at just D1 chart, it looks like the person is extremely confident. There are no insecurities. The person will likely get high status, high respect, and when they present themselves, it looks like this person really knows what they're talking about. Let's go to D9 for a second and let's just assume that Sun here is in the sign of Libra. Now, this is a very dangerous combination. Why? Because Sun here is exalted. Sun is operating at the highest possible power, which means when you see this person on an external level, you see that okay, this person is very confident, very charming, everything is perfect, but internal core of the chart is being operated from a very insecure position, to say the least. This is one of the most weakest possible positions of Sun. Now I'm not saying every person who has this combination will be a toxic kind of a personality, but yes, this is one factor that we definitely do study. Why? Because the internal core is being operated from a very place of from a place of big insecurity, and to mask that, the person wants to show them as bigger than life. This person wants everyone to realize that they are the king or the queen of the room they are walking into. And only if other people realize their value or other people give them that crown is that void filled, and that too only in a temporary manner, because as soon as the audience walks away, the reality comes into picture, which is the debilitated Sun. So that is the role of Sun in studying the case of these personalities. Let's talk about Moon. Sun, like I said, is the karka of confidence, authority, ego, amongst other things. Let's just talk about Moon for a second, because Moon is your ability to feel empathy. If if you can feel empathy, only then can you basically say that you will feel wrong when you harm someone. Your ability to feel, even empathy is the wrong word, any feeling is only possible when Moon is present in a good possible situation. So let's just imagine a person has Moon maybe in the fourth house in the sign of Libra. This is a great, fantastic placement for Moon. Moon is in the fourth house. This is the area where uh, Moon is actually happy. Moon is actually at peace, at rest. Let's just take this example to the D9 chart where moon goes in the sign of Scorpio in the 8th house in D9, and this is the weakest possible position for moon. Let's say moon here is conjunct with Ketu. Ketu, what does Ketu do? Ketu cuts. So now the ability of moon to feel any possible emotion has been reduced significantly, which means the internal reservoir, that is the D9 chart, is empty. So where will empathy come from? There is nothing over here. So when the internal tank is empty, nothing or no emotion can be felt. Even if the person can look like they are empathizing, they are understanding, they are very kind and everything, the internal core is rotten. And again, this alone does not make a person narcissistic or toxic in any sense. Why? Because it could be that Ketu moon conjunction, if operating at a high level, or if there are other balancing energies over here, maybe Jupiter is aspecting this conjunction, it might mean that um, there is a disconnect with the emotions. That part is true, but something sort of neutralizes it. So these two things, like I said, the entire chart needs to be studied very properly, but two planets, sun and moon, are very important. And if we look at it from a psychological perspective, sun is the karka for father and moon is the karka for mother. These two planets not only indicate confidence and ego and feelings and empathy and all that stuff, they also indicate a person's childhood, from which the entire adult personality has taken form. In this birth chart where sun is exalted in the 10th house, you'll see that because sun is debilitated in the D9 chart, the father might have operated in a similar manner, looking very confident, very powerful, but internally he was operating from a deep place of insecurity, which the child learns through different situations. Similarly with the mother might have appeared very kind and caring and protective in front of others, but internally there might have been a disconnect. The mother might not even have been able to connect with the child. The kind of emotional stability that the mother should have provided, the mother did not provide or could not for some reason. And that's why these two things come. And these are again two factors. I'll make another video elaborating more on this, but I want to clarify here that there is something called as free will in astrology. Free will does not get negated by these two factors. We cannot say that, okay, this happened to us, so we are justified in doing this to other people. Prarabdha is, or a karmic debt isn't a justification. People cannot use this to justify that, okay, must have been your own planets, this was written for you, or this was supposed to happen to you, so it happened to you, so you just let it go. Free will comes into picture that even if this is the status of the birth chart and this is the nature of the person, if the person looks within, there is some divine help always possible. Otherwise, an eye for an eye will make everyone blind. Where free will exists, it basically, even if a person is acting from these two placements and has a very high confidence that is masking insecurity and feelings and empathy and everything that are just a mask for the rotten core inside, when they become an adult and exercise their free will and do something to the other person, they are increasing their karmic debt. There is something called as prarabdha, which is your previous lifetime karma that has been accumulated till now that you have to pay back. There is something called as agami as well. Agami is basically the kind of karma you are creating for yourself in this particular moment. So it's very important that you don't exceed that you don't start using astrology as an excuse to do whatever you feel like, blaming it on your planets. Planets are not to blame. Planets define a particular structure in which your life has happened till now, but you always have some amount of free will, some amount of agami karma to shape it in a different manner now. Your choices indicate what may or may not happen going forward. So this is it for this video. I have just introduced this idea. Like I said in the beginning of the video, proper diagnosis can only happen once the entire birth chart is present, because there are several indicators that actually increase this tendency or reduce it. Nothing works as a nullifying factor in astrology, but there are certainly things that increase or reduce it. So it's very, very important to study the entire chart and not just one or two placements. So that's it for this video. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.